Hi, I'm Dwayne Brown. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, San Diego City Council may have a deal for the Tourism Marketing District, and Senator Barbara Boxer comes to San Diego to campaign for a school safety measure.
And the search continues for the gunman who killed 2 teens in an Oceanside park known for gang violence. We'll talk with a former gang member and police about the nearly 24 gangs in North County. Then, how much does city workers' specialty pay cost you? We'll take a closer look at a new report from the San Diego County Taxpayers Association on the short and long-term impact of salary add-ons. I'm Peggy Pico with those stories in just a moment.
Also tonight, a wandering sea lion surprises tourists in La Jolla.
We never started out to be an event this big. We've grown because we've had to.
Comic-Con is already sold out, but this weekend you have a chance to visit its little sister, Wondercon. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us. There may be a deal to end the long debate over the Tourism Marketing District. City Council has instructed the city attorney to come back in mid-April with a revised ordinance concerning the marketing district. Now, the new deal has been agreed to by Mayor Bob Filner. The agreement comes a day after the battle between Filner, the city attorney, and council members got even more heated. KPBS senior news editor Mark Sauer joins us from the news center with that part of the story.
Well, Dwayne, Mayor Filner said on KUSI TV that City Attorney Jan Goldsmith and most of the City Council has been, quote, bought off by hoteliers.
The city attorney, who did not have an opponent, got tens of thousands of dollars from these same people who he's supposedly negotiating with. The city council president, who was just on here, didn't have an election. He got tens of thousands of dollars from the same hotel people who are negotiating with us. Yeah, I'll say it again. They have proceeded with their campaign contributions to buy off most of the council.
Reporter Steve Bosch then asked Goldsmith about those charges.
To make an accusation against 2/3 of the council and the city attorney of criminal conduct being bought off is beyond the line.
Now, our iNews source team looked into those numbers on donations, and here's a look at what they found. Even if you look back 2 election cycles, it doesn't add up to the tens of thousands of dollars that Filner referred to. Now, after all that, it was a much different dynamic this afternoon at City Hall, almost a love fest. At one point, the mayor actually said, "I love you, Jan."
And Mark, what happens now?
Well, as you referred to, it's clear a deal is in place to compromise on that hotel tax. How the money will be used, details have yet to be hammered out and made public.
KPBS senior editor Mark Sauer, and for an in-depth discussion of this issue, tune into the Roundtable on KPBS Radio tomorrow at noon. California Senator Barbara Boxer visited a Barrio Logan school today to talk about school safety programs. Boxer is sponsoring a bill to restart the federal Secure Our Schools program. It includes $40 million for school district grants. Boxer says more than 260 children and adults have been killed or wounded in shootings at K-12 schools across the country since 1999.
It is time for the slaughter of innocents to stop. For those of you who are in that room with me with those children, they look up to us. They want us to protect them. They understand it is our job, and we're failing them.
San Diego Unified has used $1.2 million security grant to install cameras at district schools. The grants can also pay for improved doors, locks, and fences, and fund collaboration with local law enforcement. Oceanside police are still asking for the public's help in finding whoever killed 2 teenagers in a park known for gang activity. Peggy Pico is looking into the investigation and gang violence in the North County.
13-year-old Melanie Virgin and 15-year-old Edgar Sanchez were fatally shot and 2 others injured at Libby Lake Park 3 weeks ago. Virgin and Sanchez were killed while visiting a makeshift memorial for other teens killed in a gang shooting at the very same spot nearly 2 years ago. Joining me to talk about gang violence in North County are Captain Ray Beckler with the Oceanside Police Department and Agner Medrano, a former gang member turned pastor and youth advocate in Escondido. Thank you both for joining us. Captain Beckler, let's start with you. I understand there's about 24 gangs across North County. Are these local gangs, and what type of activity are they involved in?
Yes, Oceanside, we have several gangs. We have about 6 or 7 predominant gangs, and most of their activity is centered around drug or territorial issues. Pretty much.
Are they from local neighborhoods, or are they from basically, are they coming down from Orange County or LA? Where are these guys coming from?
No, our gangs in Oceanside are just real local to the neighborhoods.
Okay. And Agner, you were 12 years old when you joined a gang. What attracted you to join a gang, you and your brother, ultimately?
Yes, I think what I was looking for at that time, I was looking for a sense of belonging, being a part of something. I wanted to belong in a group of something. So, you know, the gang was there. I grew up in a neighborhood where the gang was in front of my house. So I became a part of that. So I felt like that was a sense of belonging that I needed. It was in the gang.
And you weren't getting that at home or at school?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't feeling that at home or at school. I wasn't getting involved in those stuff. So I seen that more in my neighborhood.
Okay, so he's talking about his neighborhood and sort of gang infestation, and certainly there seems to be plenty in North County. What's being done as far as programs go to sort of curb this or tackle gangs?
Sure, we have an 8-member gang suppression unit, and they focus on suppression intervention of gangs. And we'd like to get them into the schools, not only into the local neighborhoods, but they get into the schools. They not only identify gang members, but here's what the great thing of what they do is they identify who are kids hanging out with those gang members, pull those kids aside, talk to them about the hazards of gangs, and then also go to their home and do a home visit and talk to the parents, because oftentimes we find that some of these kids, their parents have no idea that they're even associating with gang members.
How are these? So these are kind of the at-risk kids. How successful are these programs so far?
So far, well, it's too early to find out what the data to support whether they're actually staying crime-free, but we just know that intervention piece is critical to prompting their success as staying out of the gang life.
You got out, Agner,
Yes.
You got out of the gang when you were 19. A recent survey by Sandag found about 1/3 of the gang members here in San Diego County, they say they want to get out, but they're afraid to leave.
Yes.
Now you're a pastor.
Yes.
You're also a mentor to former and current gang members.
Yes.
How do you help them get out? What do you tell them?
Well, the main thing that we try to do in Victory Outreach is try to build a relationship with our community. You know, first we believe that we got to reach their heart before you could do anything. So basically building relationships, and then it comes the trying to lead them by the hand and help them out of their lifestyle, you know.
I think because you had mentioned that, you know, there's a void when you leave.
Yes.
There's a void. And,
Yes.
and what do you tell them about filling that void?
And that is the most important. Once they get out of that, you got to fill up that void. And that is how we do that, is by giving back to our community, by staying involved in positive activities, you know, taking care of your family, staying busy, basically, you know what I'm saying? Because that's important. That's what will keep them out, not just for 1 year, but for the rest of their lives.
And you touched on this, Ray, about this sort of challenge of either people getting them not to go into gangs or getting them out of gangs. What do you see as the biggest challenge for the gangs in your neighborhood?
It's really relationships, the police getting involved in the community, and not only just building but sustaining those relationships.
Yes.
And the trust factor. There's a lot of reluctance for, especially in the gang neighborhoods. We're law enforcement. If they do something wrong, we're taking them out of that structure and getting them into custody.
What about the parents and families? Do you do outreach for them?
We do. We go to the community meetings. We have structured meetings that are calendared every month, and we do have our neighborhood community officers and our community-oriented policing officers going out there routinely to try to establish those relationships and build them.
Okay, and Agner, I want to ask you this. You've said before that gangs are never going to go away.
Yes.
How should we deal with them then?
Well, I think the best thing I could say is that trying to help them to reduce the violence is some way, somehow, let's help them get involved in positive activities, you know, whether it's faith-based, whether it's community activities, whether it's jobs, sports, whatever it is, because that will keep them away from violent, getting together and getting involved in criminal activities.
So replacing the violence with some good activities. Yes. Unfortunately, we are out of time. I want to thank you both so much for talking with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A new survey on attitudes about illegal immigration finds increasing support for letting undocumented migrants stay in the U.S. The survey comes from the Pew Research Center. 71% of those polled say there should be a way for folks to stay in the country legally. Most supported a pathway to citizenship, and a smaller number favored green cards. An estimated 11 million people are in the U.S. illegally. California's new health care exchange says insurance premiums will go up next year when the Affordable Care Act takes effect. Covered California looked at the costs for individual plans. It says their costs will rise an average of 14%. The reason? An influx of people who couldn't afford health insurance before or who were denied coverage because of pre-existing conditions. Covered California says individual policy premiums would go up 9% even without health care reform. Federal and local leaders rallied at the La Jolla Post Office today, trying to delay the sale of the historic structure. The Postal Service is planning to sell facilities across the country to generate revenue.
What we're here for today is to say, hold off a minute, wait, if any community can find a way to purchase their post office and the building, then they want to do that.
If they need money for this post office, the community will raise the money to buy it at fair market value, the same price they get from a developer, and for a nominal fee, lease this front part back to the Postal Service so they can continue that function here.
Supporters in La Jolla have until April 6th to file an appeal to postpone the sale. An unusual sight in La Jolla, a young sea lion making herself comfortable on a hotel's patio. She's now at SeaWorld being treated for malnutrition and dehydration. So far this year, SeaWorld has picked up 229 marine mammals on San Diego beaches, nearly double the number rescued last year. 70 congressional lawmakers want to remove gray wolves from the endangered species list. KPBS reporter Susan Murphy tells us that could jeopardize local efforts to save its critically endangered subspecies, the Mexican gray wolf.
Mexican gray wolves were nearly extinct in the 1970s, with just 5 remaining in the wild. But the survivors were captured and the species was saved, thanks in part to the California Wolf Center in Julian. Today, 75 wolves live in the wild at the Blue Range Wolf Reintroduction Area in Arizona and New Mexico. But lawmakers are urging the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to remove protections across much of the U.S., including the Southwest. They say the growing population is making it hard for farmers to protect livestock, and they pose a threat to communities. California Wolf Center CEO Aaron Hunt says delisting gray wolves would jeopardize 15 years of crucial breeding and captivity efforts.
We have a commitment to those animals, to provide for them, to shelter them, and to make sure that they have the best possible lives that they can. We will be doing everything we can on our end to make sure that this subspecies does not go extinct.
Hunt says they're planning to release 1 or 2 more wolf packs in Arizona this spring, depending in part if protections continue. Susan Murphy, KPBS News.
A taxpayer watchdog group claims more than a dozen cities in the county bump up municipal pensions with specialty pay. Peggy Pico finds out how much it costs taxpayers.
Millions of dollars are spent each year on specialty pay for city workers in 16 cities across the county. That's according to a report from the San Diego County Taxpayers Association out today. Chris Cate, CEO of the Taxpayers Association, joins me with details on the cost of those add-ons to taxpayers. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Tell us, first of all, what kinds of things qualify as specialty pay?
Specialty pays are essentially add-on pays above and beyond the base salary of an employee, and they're given to employees for different things, certifications, obtaining different types of qualifications, so bilingual pay, being a notary you get a pay, being an EMT you get a premium pay, things like that.
So extra skills sometimes, but also extra pay.
Right, exactly. And sometimes those things are given to employees for simply just doing their job, working on trees, working on sprinklers, things like that.
All right. Now, the city of San Diego was not included in your report, but there were 16 other cities in the county that were. In the top 3, the spenders were Chula Vista with an annual average of more than $1.7 million a year. Oceanside's annual average expenditure is nearly $1.4 million, while Escondido spends about $1.2 million each year on specialty pay. Now, how come these kind of rose to the top?
These cities are larger cities. They have more employees, more unions they have to negotiate with. So what we did was not only looked at the total cumulative amount paid out over a 12-year period, we also looked at it on a per household basis to try to equalize it between cities. And in that case, you have National City, who spends about $45 per household a year on specialty pays, and Imperial Beach, smaller cities, only paying about $155 per household.
And more importantly, those numbers have been increasing. But I do want to let people know that we contacted the California Public Employee Retirement System, or CalPERS, and nearly all of the city managers for the cities in this report, none agreed to be interviewed. But Stacy Stevenson, Human Resource Director for National City, told us this over the phone.
We have some instances where we need individuals to perform a highly specialized skill or have a certain type of license, and instead of paying everybody in that job classification at a rate of pay that would cover that, we carve out a specialty pay, so only those individuals that are performing that specialized skill or have that specialized license get that pay. So it actually is, in that way, a cost control measure.
No, she's calling it a cost control measure because she says only specific people. But you have a different idea as far as like maybe a range of salary for people.
Right. And what we're saying is that if you're looking at what type of jobs are being offered to employees and what's the requirements of performing the job, that the salary that's given to those employees should incorporate all of these skills. So if I'm required to be a notary or I'm required to work on trees as part of my job, I should be paid that amount, not have these additional add-on pays on top of my salary, which is all pensionable.
Well, let's talk about this. Some of the money that we were talking about as far as the cost to the taxpayer doesn't really seem like a whole lot every year, but there is concern over the long-term impact of this. What is that about?
Absolutely. One thing when you look at these specialty pays, these are all included in an employee's pension calculation. So when an employee is working, they're obtaining their salary plus a specialty pays. The final pension payout for their retirement is inclusive of all those things. So what we're concerned about is that as employees garner all these different types of pays above and beyond their regular pay, that leads to pension spiking, which has a long-term effect, a long-term cost to the cities as they're paying these pension costs during their employees' retirement.
There are some new state-wide restrictions and some reforms going on about this specialty pay. Tell us a little bit about that as far as the calculating pension benefits.
When the legislature passed pension reform last year, their intent was to limit the pension calculation on base regular pay. CalPERS has come back in recent months and said that their definition of regular pay includes over 80 different types of specialty pay. So we believe that CalPERS is actually flying in the face of what the original intent of the legislature was when passing pension reform, and we're looking now to the cities to negotiate out of the contracts with employee groups these specialty pays and have the pensions based on the regular pay only.
Do you have any other recommendations for the cities that were in this report?
One thing when looking at this, it took a year and a half to complete and to compile the data. We believe that cities should be posting all this information online, the types of pays, how much they cost, and as well as on an annual basis reassessing the need to have these different types of pays and whether or not they should be granted to employees.
All right, Chris, Kate, we're out of time. Thank you so much. I want to let viewers know that you can read the entire San Diego Taxpayer Association's report by going to our website, kpbs.org.
I'm Ray Suarez. On the next News Hour, bringing babies into the classroom to help reduce bullying and promote caring. That's Thursday on the PBS News Hour.
If you were unable to buy tickets for this summer's sold-out Comic-Con, you might want to consider WonderCon this weekend, Comic-Con's little sister. But KPBS Arts reporter Beth Accomando says don't wait too long to get a ticket.
San Diego Comic-Con is the largest pop culture convention in North America.
We never started out to be an event this big. We've grown because we've had to.
Comic-Con has grown so big that it's maxed out space at the San Diego Convention Center, and for the past few years has had to cap attendance at 130,000. On February 16th, badges for this summer's Comic-Con sold out in just over 90 minutes. People complained, but the bottom line is Comic-Con's just become too popular.
I wish we could accommodate everybody who would love to attend. There just seems to be so many people who want to attend that we can't do that.
But Comic-Con also puts on Wondercon, which David Glanzer calls Comic-Con's little sister.
Wondercon is very similar to Comic-Con, except it has an attendance of about close to 40 to 50,000 people, but also focuses on comics, movies, popular arts, things of that nature.
Wondercon is usually held in San Francisco, but last year renovations to San Francisco's Moscone Center forced Wondercon to seek a new venue at the Anaheim Convention Center. This year, a lack of available dates in the Bay City forced Wondercon to return to Anaheim. That means San Diegans wanting a Comic-Con-like experience can travel less than 2 hours north and attend Wondercon. But unlike last year, 3-day badges are already sold out, and only single-day tickets may be available at the door. Popularity has followed the event organizers north.
Yeah, our first year actually really took us by surprise. We didn't know what the response would be. We were very happy to find out that the response was tremendous, not only from attendees, but from exhibitors.
Exhibitors like Rebecca Hicks, creator of the webcomic Little Vampires.
From an exhibitor point of view, Comic-Con has become so big and amazing and crazy, it's hard to get anyone to notice my stuff. WonderCon is like Comic-Con 10 years ago, where it was big and awesome, but still accessible, and people went there to find new things, as well as to see their favorite creators, and to see, Hollywood. So WonderCon to me is just at that sweet spot right now. I did not expect us to be blunt, financially successful as we were. We would do the show anyway, but it was a really nice surprise how well people responded to my work.
WonderCon may be Comic-Con light, but it still has 700 exhibitors and 250 hours of programming to choose from.
Look at your program book and decide what it is you want to see and try to plan out your day.
This year, WonderCon will feature cult superstar Bruce Campbell at a panel for the Evil Dead remake. And there's a panel about Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing that fanboy favorite Joss Whedon is bringing to the screen. There are also seminars on how to build your own R2, as well as a sneak preview of DC's animated film, Superman Unbound. And then there's my favorite panel, Not Guilty by Reason of Zombification, Law and Forensic Psychiatry After the Zombie Apocalypse. That's the kind of programming that can only come from people immersed in and in love with pop culture.
I don't know of anybody that I work with that isn't a fan.
And they put on the kind of show that they'd like to see. Maybe that's why WonderCon is also gaining popularity.
People have even suggested maybe having an Anaheim show and a San Francisco show. I don't know that we have the resources to do that, but that's certainly been brought up.
If you want to take advantage of WonderCon Anaheim, you should buy your tickets online now because the event may sell out. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
WonderCon runs tomorrow through Sunday at the Anaheim Convention Center. Taking a look at the San Diego forecast, the coast may get a little rain or drizzle by Easter Sunday. Partly sunny for the inland valleys for the next few days. Overcast by Sunday. Partly cloudy in the mountains with temperatures cooling down a bit. In the desert, 90s for the next few days with a cool down on Sunday. There was a time in San Diego when local dairies were doing a good business. Milk was delivered to your door every morning, and the milkman was a trusted and familiar friend. Ken Kramer takes us back for some memories in tonight's About San Diego.
In the neighborhood east of 47th and Logan, if you could rewind the clock to, say, the 1950s, you know what you would see? Cows, dairy cows, for milking at the Knox Dairy. Ray Thompson remembers.
We produced the milk there, we bottled it there, and we delivered it from there. We didn't have to truck in milk.
Everybody knew the Knox Dairy, owned by Harley Knox, San Diego mayor in the late 40s, had their offices in a drive-up window at 4810 Logan Avenue, San Diego, 13, California. But the thing is, they delivered milk to your door. Well, all dairies did in those sweeter, simpler times. The milkman brought it, and Ray was a milkman.
Well, the people were very trustworthy then. I had numerous keys to people's houses.
He drove one of these trucks, and in the early morning, Ray and his fellow drivers had routes all over the city. He knew his customers, the families, the kids, and they knew Ray. He was the milkman.
A lot of homes, they were still asleep when I was in putting the milk in the refrigerator in the kitchen. And I didn't slam the door when I went out either.
When he gave out a calendar at the holidays, well, there were his own kids in the picture with some good and good-for-you healthy Knox milk. His wife did the bookkeeping, kept track of who got the chocolate or buttermilk, skim milk, cream, even oleo, margarine, and fresh eggs. Anything, you just called him at home.
And then I've had him give me old coins as change to pay the milk bill. And they called my house and, Ray, I must have given you my coin, part of my coin collection. Do you have a such and such year, dime or quarter? And I said, well, I've still got my change. I'll look and see. And sure enough, it was I forget if it was a dime or a quarter or what it was that she'd given me and she hadn't meant to.
A lot of us who remember the neighborhood milkman know what those old Divco trucks looked and sounded like, how dogs up the street would start barking. They knew those squeaky brakes. And it worked both ways, Ray says. The milkman knew us, too. There was a customer one day, he says.
And she always met me at the door, and she didn't meet me that day. And I was on Shimon Avenue. Her name was Mrs. Cook. And so I come in, and she'd had a heart attack. So I called the fire department, police, and they come in. Everything turned out fine.
Eventually, customers stopped asking for home delivery. Costs went up, supermarkets stocked milk, and in San Diego, like everywhere else, an era ended. But you know what?
I've had people stop me in La Mesa on the street say, Ray, you remember me? I used to be our milkman.
He remembers when it was cows east of 47th and Logan, and a simpler and more trusting time along Ray Thompson's delivery route around and about San Diego.
We have more of Ken's stories about San Diego tonight at 8 and every Thursday at 8 on KPBS. Tonight's stories are online at kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. You have a great night.